In the bustling heart of Calabar, where tradition meets modern ambition, two sisters, Zainab and Omoy, grew up sharing dreams, secrets, and laughter. Though bound by blood, they were worlds apart in spirit. Zainab, the older of the two, was a disciplined and brilliant woman. She had built a name for herself as an environmental consultant, fighting for nature and people's rights. A firm believer in structure and principles, she walked with the grace of someone who knew her path. Omoy, by contrast, was the wild flame, a gifted painter whose canvases whispered stories of joy and sorrow. Her radiant beauty and free spirit often made her the center of attention wherever she went. Together, they lived in a modest but stylish duplex in Satellite Town, surrounded by friends who envied their unbreakable sisterhood. Then came Tobena, a tech innovator who had built an empire of digital platforms for farmers and traders across West Africa. Tobena was magnetic, wealthy, wise, and worryingly charming. Zainab first met him at a sustainability conference in Uyo, where she was invited to consult on one of his new projects. Their connection was instant. Tobena was captivated by her intellect, and Zainab admired his vision. Within months, he proposed during a serene dinner by the Cross River, beneath a sky that seemed to bless their love. The wedding that followed became the toast of southern Nigeria. Even Omoy, though she danced and smiled, was quietly wounded by something she didn't fully understand, or perhaps didn't want to admit. Soon after the wedding, whispers began. Tobena became distant, too many work trips, too many meetings. Zainab tried to ignore the growing silence in her home until one evening, she came home earlier than planned. There they were, Omoy and Tobena, laughing, sitting too close, their comfort with each other too natural. Zainab stood quietly at the entrance, watching the scene unfold as though she was invisible. When they noticed her, they jumped apart like guilty children, but the damage was already done. Zainab didn't say a word that night. Instead, she lay awake, replaying everything, every glance, every laugh, every shift in energy. She began to notice more, Tobena looking at Omoy longer than necessary, Omoy giggling at his every word. One evening, the silence cracked. Zainab, trembling with a storm in her chest, confronted Tobena. He denied everything, of course, hugged her tightly, swore Omoy was like a little sister to him. But Zainab saw through his calm, there was something behind his eyes. Later that week, Zainab cornered her sister in the kitchen. "Tell me the truth," she asked, her voice barely holding its shape. "Are you in love with him?" Omoy froze. Her silence screamed louder than any confession. "It's not like that, Zainab. I would never." But Zainab was already breaking. "You've always wanted what I have," she whispered, tears burning her eyes. "And you've always had everything," Omoy burst out. "The respect, the success, even him. I loved Tobena before you ever met him, but you never even saw me." Like shattered glass, the truth lay bare between them. Omoy had been in love with Tobena long before Zainab had walked into that conference. After that night, the house became a war zone of silence. Tobena, sensing the weight of what he had caused, distanced himself, but it was too late. One evening, Zainab returned to find Omoy's room empty. Her clothes were gone. On the bed sat a note. "I'm leaving, Zainab. I can't stay here anymore. I'm sorry." The walls that once echoed with laughter now mourned with silence. Months passed. Zainab filed for divorce, ending the painful chapter with Tobena for good. Then, one rainy day, she heard Omoy was living quietly in Enugu, painting again in a small community arts center. She traveled there, heart heavy with memories and pain. When she entered the studio, Omoy was at her easel, older now, her eyes dimmer, but her soul still full of color. They stood quietly until Zainab spoke. "Why did you do it?" she asked. Omoy's voice broke. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I never wanted to hurt you." "You did." "I know, but we are sisters. We've survived worse, haven't we?" Zainab looked at her for a long time, tears forming in her eyes. "I lost a husband, yes, but losing you hurt more." They embraced, two sisters, broken but healing. Not the same as before, but something new, something real. Over time, the bond returned, fragile at first, but stronger with each meeting, each memory, each moment of forgiveness. Tobena became nothing more than a footnote in their stories.